Keke Palmer walks into a nightclub at the top of the film, scans the room like a predator, and within 60 seconds you already know this movie is not going to play by any rules you recognize. That opening alone is enough to tell you that Boots Riley is back, and he brought chaos with him. 8 years after Sorry to Bother You rattled Hollywood with its unhinged anti-capitalist fury, the rapper-turned-filmmaker returned to SXSW this year with his long-awaited sophomore feature, I Love Boosters, a film so aggressively weird, so gleefully confrontational, and so committed to its own brand of punk-flavored surrealism that it almost dares you to keep up. Based on early reactions out of Austin, Texas, audiences at the world premiere largely accepted that dare and left the theater buzzing. The film follows 3 women known collectively as the Velvet Gang. Corvette, played by Keke Palmer, Sade, played by Naomi Aki, and Mariah, played by Taylor Page. Their business model is simple and illegal. They steal luxury clothing from high-end retail stores across the Bay Area, a practice known on the street as boosting, and resell it to everyday people out of car trunks, bathroom stalls, and makeshift pop-up shops. Their motto is fashion, forward, philanthropy. They see themselves as Robin Hoods of couture. Nobody around them entirely disagrees. The story is set across Oakland, Richmond, Hayward, and San Francisco, cities that Riley has clearly studied with the eye of someone who loves them and is furious on their behalf. The Bay Area here is rendered as a heightened, slightly tilted version of itself, sometimes literally, as in the case of a high-rise apartment building constructed at a 4-5-degree angle, treated by the characters as an ordinary architectural fact. Riley's world-building works because it never pauses to explain itself. The tilt is just there. The demon is just there. The teleportation device arrives halfway through the film, and the movie does not blink. That teleportation device is where I Love Boosters shifts from a scrappy retail heist comedy into something that critics have struggled to categorize. A factory worker from China, named Jian Pu, played by Poppy Liu, arrives carrying what she describes as both a teleporter and a situational accelerator, a machine that takes whatever situation you're in and amplifies it to its logical extreme. Once Jianpu and the Velvet Gang connect, the film launches into a dimension that one reviewer compared to Everything Everywhere All at Once, though with a Bay Area accent and a Karl Marx footnote tucked in the back pocket. Standing between the Velvet Gang and everything they want is Christy Smith, the fashion empire's iron-willed founder, played by Demi Moore. Moore's Christy is a diva of control dressed in architectural silhouettes and aviator glasses, running a chain of stores where every item in the showroom is dyed a single color each month, and customers who object are told flatly to deal with it. Moore plays her with a comic viciousness that reminded more than one critic of her Oscar-nominated work in The Substance, proof that her career renaissance is not a one-time event. She is genuinely funny here, and genuinely frightening, which is exactly the tonal balance Riley's film needs to function. Corvette has a complicated relationship with Christy that Palmer plays with real emotional texture. Corvette is not merely a thief rebelling against the system. She is also an aspiring designer who worships Christy's aesthetic, even as she steals from her stores, and who discovers midway through the film that Christy stole one of her original designs without credit or compensation. That wound gives the film its unexpected emotional center. Palmer, who has been carving out a reputation as one of the most versatile comic actors working in American film today, finds pathos in the character that no one else could have located. A single line she delivers, "I'm even lonely when I'm with people," reportedly landed in silence in the theater before the audience exhaled together. The supporting ensemble is stacked in ways that feel almost gratuitous. Will Poulter appears as a Metro Designer store manager, dressed entirely in green from head to toe, a fascist retail tyrant who grants his employees exactly 30 seconds for a lunch break. Don Cheadle, buried under a fat suit and heavy prosthetics, plays a motivational speaker running what is very obviously a pyramid scheme dressed up as a democracy think tank. Lakeith Stanfield shows up as a nightclub Lothario whose bedroom skills are, in the most literal sense possible, supernatural. These are not cameos in the traditional sense. Each of them lands a distinct comic note and exits before wearing out their welcome, which is a directing skill Riley has refined considerably since his debut. The film's second half pulls the story into a global frame, connecting the Velvet Gang's small-scale street hustle to a Chinese sweatshop manufacturing Christy Smith's fast fashion line, where workers are organizing a revolt. The satirical target is clear and on the nose. Riley's politics have always been public. He is openly communist and has never pretended otherwise. And I Love Boosters delivers his worldview in the form of a late-breaking monologue on Marxist philosophy that some critics found invigorating and others found clunky. The consensus seems to be that the message lands harder in the film's images than in its dialogue, particularly in its finale, where corporate executives are literally stripped of their skin, and a massive rolling ball made of unpaid parking tickets and lien notices comes hurtling at Corvette, like every anxiety of working-class American life compacted into a single, unstoppable object. Cinematographer Natasha Breyer shoots the Bay Area with a specificity and warmth that makes a strong argument for why filmmakers should use it as a location far more often than they do. The visual texture of the film is rich and committed. The score, provided by Tune-Yards, the Oakland-based project of Merrill Garbus, who also soundtracked Sorry to Bother You, has drawn more divided responses. Several critics noted that the music never allows the audience a moment to breathe, which can feel overwhelming during a film already operating at near maximum sensory intensity. Riley loses the wheel in the film's midsection, where the teleportation subplot piles on more questions than it resolves, and the global capitalism thread slowly swallows the intimate story at the film's core. What saves it is Palmer, Aki, and Page, three actors so dialed into Riley's frequency that they hold the whole spinning contraption together through sheer force of chemistry. Their friendship doesn't need explaining. It lives in the glances. I Love Boosters will not win everyone over. It is too political, too strange, and too in love with its own chaos to play it safe. But it is also one of the most alive films to come out of SXSW in years, carried by performances that deserve to outlast the conversation around them. Boots Riley does not always land where he aims. He just aims somewhere most directors never think to look. If you have been waiting since 2018 for proof that Sorry to Bother You was not a fluke, I Love Boosters delivers that proof with both middle fingers raised and a stolen pink jumpsuit stuffed with 10 layers of fashion underneath. So here's the question we want to hear from you. Is Boots Riley's style of socialist satire the kind of cinema you want to see more of in Hollywood, or does the political messaging get in the way of the story for you? Drop your take in the comments below, and if you want more coverage of the films making noise at SXSW this year, hit like and subscribe so you never miss what's coming next.